The Young and the Restless spoilers Victoria Newman's crossroads, love, family, and the shadows of tragedy. Victoria Newman has always been a force to be reckoned with, known for her sharp business mind, her stoic demeanor, and her emotional distance. But recently, there has been a shift in her character, a vulnerability and tenderness that fans have not seen in years. With the tragic decline of Cole Howard's health, Victoria is confronted with the possibility of losing him, and that uncertainty has opened the door to a deeper exploration of her heart. As Cole's life hangs in the balance, Victoria is faced with the harsh reality of what it might mean to lose the man she loves. The stakes are incredibly high for her, both emotionally and personally. Cole's death could potentially shatter her, but it also forces her to confront what truly matters in her life. As much as she has always been the Ice Queen, Victoria's grief may lead her to rethink her future and, more importantly, the relationships she has built, or failed to build, with those she loves. The potential for reconciliation with Billy Abbott, a future together? Amid the uncertainty surrounding Cole's health, there is another question that hangs in the air: could Victoria ever reconcile with Billy Abbott? Their history has been filled with love, pain, and heartbreak, but time has a way of softening the edges of old wounds. If Cole dies, Victoria may find herself seeking comfort in familiar places, and Billy, always a source of both strength and conflict in her life, might once again become a part of her future. While Victoria has always tended to pull away from relationships, especially after they become emotionally intense, the grief over Cole could make her reconsider her choices. Would she consider remarrying Billy, despite the pain they've both endured? Could their relationship find a second chance, especially in the aftermath of such a profound loss? Victoria is, after all, someone who has rarely allowed herself to be vulnerable, and any attempt to reconnect with Billy would be a significant step for her. It's not just about love, it's about rediscovering a connection that was once important to her. And as she contemplates the possibility of Cole's death, Victoria may find herself reevaluating everything: her future, her family, and the relationships that have shaped her into who she is today. Nikki Newman's struggles, the dark side of family drama, the chaotic actions of Jordan, along with the arson that destroyed Victoria's home, have further complicated the already fragile situation within the Newman family. Nikki Newman, already a woman of immense strength, finds her composure shattered as the events unfold. The attack on their family's stability has left her reeling, and the threat to their home and livelihood is a reminder of the constant danger that the Newmans face. However, even amidst the turmoil, there's a strange silver lining. As much as Victoria has suffered, she has also found some sense of happiness, perhaps more than she ever expected. Her relationship with Claire has been mended, and she has reconnected with Cole, something she may have longed for without fully realizing it. For a brief moment, Victoria has rediscovered the love and closeness she's been craving. This emotional revival, however, may not last, as tragedy and complications always seem to lurk around the corner in the world of the young and the restless. The Ice Queen's tender side. A side we've never seen before. Victoria's softening character has been one of the most intriguing shifts in the show. For years, she has been referred to as the Ice Queen, a nickname earned through her often cold, calculated, and emotionally distant behavior. But as she navigates the emotional turmoil of Cole's declining health and the chaos surrounding her family, Victoria is showing a gentler side that has rarely been visible. It's refreshing for fans to witness this side of her. Someone who is capable of love, care, and vulnerability. She has spent so much time hiding behind a tough exterior that seeing her open up, even just a little, is a revelation. For the first time, we are able to see her not just as the powerful businesswoman but as a woman who, like everyone else, longs for connection and happiness. Her bond with Cole, one of the most heartfelt relationships she's had, has shown her capacity for warmth and tenderness. But the looming uncertainty of his health threatens to overshadow everything she has worked for emotionally, and the joy she has found in these personal connections may be short-lived. As much as we've seen Victoria embrace this gentler side, we cannot ignore the deep sadness that she will undoubtedly face as her world unravels around her. The dark cloud of tragedy. Victoria's future happiness in doubt. Despite the moments of happiness Victoria has found in recent weeks, a dark cloud looms over her future. With the possibility of Cole's death hanging in the balance, the emotional weight on Victoria will only continue to grow. As much as she has tried to embrace the warmth of love and family, the impending tragedy will test her in ways she hasn't been tested before. Moreover, the lingering threat of her relationship with Billy Abbott brings a sense of unease. Will the pressure of Cole's death drive Victoria back into Billy's arms? Or will it push her further away, reinforcing her instinct to avoid emotional intimacy? Victoria has always prided herself on being strong, independent, and in control, but the unpredictable nature of life and death is forcing her to let go of that control. The decisions she makes in the coming weeks will determine not only her future with Billy but also the fate of her relationship with her family and the future of the Newman legacy. As she stands at this emotional crossroads, fans will be left wondering if Victoria's newfound tenderness will help her heal, or if it will simply set her up for more heartbreak. Conclusion: a bittersweet future for Victoria as the dramatic events unfold in Genoa City. Victoria's journey is far from over. With the potential loss of Cole and the possibility of rekindling her relationship with Billy, Victoria's path forward is filled with uncertainty. Her journey from the Ice Queen to a woman capable of vulnerability is one that fans have eagerly followed, and it will be fascinating to see how she navigates the coming challenges. Will Victoria find happiness again after the storms she's weathered? Or will the tragedy surrounding Cole's health cast a shadow over her future? One thing is clear. The young and the restless will continue to explore the complexities of Victoria's character, pushing her to face her deepest fears and desires, while allowing fans to see a side of her they've never seen before. The questions about her future, both in love and in life, are far from answered, but as always, her journey will be one of the most compelling storylines to watch. Cole Howard's return. A bitter reunion amidst illness and uncertainty. After a long and grueling business trip to Europe, Cole Howard returns to Genoa City in a state far worse than anyone expected. Though he's physically back, it's clear that something is gravely wrong with him. His return should be a joyous occasion for his loved ones, especially Victoria and Claire, but instead, it's marked by an undercurrent of fear and concern. While they are happy to see him and appreciate the souvenirs he brought back, they can't help but notice his persistent cough, which he brushes off as nothing more than a common cold. But as Cole tries to go back to his usual routine, we see him in a more vulnerable state than ever before. In one particularly telling moment, Cole is seen lying weakly on a couch at the local bar, his breathing shallow and labored, struggling to get through the day. Victoria, ever the caretaker, refuses to let him ignore his health any longer. Her concern for him reaches a boiling point, and she becomes insistent that he see a doctor. At first, Cole resists. He convinces himself that it's just a cold or maybe even the flu, nothing to worry about, just something he'll push through. But as his coughing worsens and his exhaustion deepens, Cole can no longer deny that something is terribly wrong. It's at this point that the reality sets in. His condition is far more serious than he ever imagined. The fear in his eyes is undeniable as he begins to realize that his illness could be much more than a simple viral infection. Victoria's determination, the fight to save Cole. Victoria, who has always been emotionally guarded and strong, becomes a force of nature in this situation. She is determined to help Cole, even when he tries to minimize his symptoms. Her devotion to him is clear, and she cannot stand the thought of losing him without knowing the full extent of his condition. As Victoria pushes Cole to see a doctor, she is faced with the same fear that anyone in her position would feel: what if it's too late? The question hangs in the air like a dark cloud, and despite her optimism and determination to help him, there's a nagging feeling in her gut that tells her this might be something far worse than they're prepared for. Victoria's love for Cole has always been deep, but now she's forced to confront the possibility that this could be the end of their love story. Her desire to protect him, to care for him, will be tested in ways she's never imagined before. The uncertainty of his health looms over her, and as she pushes him to get the medical attention he so desperately needs, the emotional toll on her begins to show. The grim reality. Cole's illness and the impact on Victoria. As the days go by, Cole's health continues to deteriorate. Despite Victoria's best efforts to get him the care he needs, it's clear that something isn't right. He becomes weaker, and the cough that once seemed like a minor inconvenience turns into something much more ominous. His fever spikes, and his energy fades, leaving Victoria to wonder if they have run out of time. The man she loves is slipping away, and the reality of that loss is starting to sink in. With Cole's condition worsening, the looming question becomes more urgent: what happens if Cole dies? For Victoria, the thought is unbearable. She has already lost so much in her life, and the idea of losing Cole, the man who has stood by her, loved her, and supported her through thick and thin, seems unimaginable. Yet, as the days pass and his health fails, the possibility of his death becomes more and more real. Victoria knows that she has to make the most of the time they have left, but what happens when time runs out? If Cole does die, it will devastate her in ways that are difficult to articulate. She has fought so hard for their love, but in the end, she may have no choice but to let go. The idea of losing him, especially so suddenly and tragically, will change her forever. The emotional fallout. Victoria's heartbreak and the future should Cole pass away. The emotional fallout will be felt throughout Genoa City, particularly for Victoria. She has been through heartbreak before, but nothing could compare to losing Cole. He is the man who has helped her rediscover her capacity for love, and losing him would leave a void in her heart that may never be filled. For Claire, the situation is equally devastating. The daughter of Cole and Victoria, Claire has always looked up to her father, and his death would leave a profound impact on her as well. She will have to navigate the grief of losing her father while trying to support her mother through the pain of losing a partner. The emotional strain will be immense, and Claire's own journey through grief will become a major part of her character development moving forward. In the aftermath of Cole's death, the dynamics of Victoria's relationships with those around her will shift. She will have to find a way to move on, to keep going despite the pain. Whether she is able to open her heart to love again, particularly to someone like Billy Abbott, remains to be seen. The possibilities for her future will depend on how she handles the grief and how much of herself she is willing to give to the people who care about her. A tragic end to a love story. Will Victoria find healing? If Cole dies, it will mark the end of a love story that was filled with both joy and struggle. His passing will be felt deeply by everyone who knew him, but none more so than Victoria. She will have to navigate a future without him, a future she never imagined. Whether she will ever be able to fully heal from the loss of Cole, or whether she will find a way to move forward and embrace a new chapter in her life, remains a question that will haunt fans of the young and the restless. The legacy of Cole's love for Victoria, and the love they shared, will continue to shape her character in profound ways. But the road ahead will not be easy, and Victoria will face many challenges as she tries to rebuild her life after the devastating loss of the man who was once her everything. The journey of healing and self-discovery will be long, but for Victoria, it may be the only way forward. As fans hold their breath, watching Cole's health spiral downward, they are left to wonder, what will happen next? Will Victoria be able to fight for the love she so desperately wants, or will Cole's death mark the end of her story with him and the beginning of a new chapter filled with grief, growth, and, perhaps, a new love? After months of turmoil and uncertainty, Victoria Newman's emotional journey has finally brought her to a place of reunion with one of her first loves, Cole Howard. However, as much as their relationship has brought her moments of happiness, the looming tragedy of Cole's health threatens to overshadow their time together. Despite his being a constant, unwavering presence in her life, Victoria must now face the possibility of losing him forever. If Cole passes away, Victoria will undoubtedly need a great deal of love and support from her family and friends. But in a town like Genoa City, where the lines between family, loyalty, and power are often blurred, Victoria's support network is limited. Though she has Victor's approval of Cole, her relationship with her father remains complicated, and her emotional support could very well come from someone outside the Newman family, a familiar face in the form of her ex-husband, Billy Abbott. Billy's role as a rock for Victoria. A potential for reconciliation. Billy Abbott has always been a stable figure in Victoria's life, even after their marriage fell apart. Despite their tumultuous history, Billy and Victoria have a deep connection, one that has withstood time and personal challenges. If Cole were to pass away, it's easy to imagine that Victoria would lean on Billy for emotional support, as he has always been one of the few people who can understand her fully. As Victoria grapples with the heartbreaking reality of losing Cole, Billy may become the one person she can turn to. The familiarity of their relationship, coupled with the years of shared history, will likely make Billy the ultimate source of comfort for Victoria. But as they spend time together, sharing moments of solace and understanding, the old sparks between them may begin to resurface. In an emotionally charged time like this, it wouldn't be surprising if Victoria and Billy found themselves revisiting their past feelings for each other. This emotional journey could lead to a rekindling of their romance, and the fans of #Villy may find themselves eagerly hoping for their reunion. Their relationship has always been a roller coaster, but the potential for a fresh start and renewed connection could be a much-needed turning point for both characters. The rising tension. Sally and Victor's response. However, this potential reconciliation would not come without complications, especially when it comes to two key figures, Sally Spectra and Victor Newman. For Sally, her relationship with Billy is still in its early stages. Their connection is fresh, and though it holds potential, there are still lingering questions about their future together. If Billy and Victoria were to reconnect romantically, it would undoubtedly throw a wrench in Sally's plans. Sally has made it clear in the past that she cares deeply for Billy, and seeing him return to Victoria would surely be a difficult pill to swallow. What does this mean for Sally? The dynamics between her, Billy, and Victoria will become more complicated than ever. Sally has already struggled with navigating relationships in Genoa City, and the return of Billy to Victoria's orbit could cause a rift in her own romantic life. Will she fight for Billy's attention, or will she step back and accept the reality of their past? Victor's involvement also adds a layer of complexity. Victor, who has always played a significant role in Victoria's life, may not take kindly to the idea of Billy coming back into the picture. If Victoria turns to Billy for support, it could strain her already fragile relationship with her father. Victor, who has always disapproved of certain aspects of Billy's character, may see this as another form of betrayal. His manipulations could force Victoria into a corner, where her heart's desires conflict with her family's expectations. The drama of family, love, and loyalty. Victoria's emotional journey after Cole's potential death will test not only her relationships with Billy and Sally but also her bond with her father, Victor. As she navigates the grief and pain of losing the love of her life, she must also contend with the weight of her past and the relationships that have shaped her. Her connection with Billy has always been a central part of her story, and as they support each other through this painful time, the possibility of rekindling their romance seems more likely. The question, however, is whether Victoria can allow herself to move on from her past with Billy and embrace a future with him, or if the ghosts of their history will always haunt their relationship. The emotional turmoil will also challenge Victoria's loyalty to her family. With Victor's approval of Cole and the complicated history between them, Victoria's choices will undoubtedly have lasting consequences. As she contemplates what comes next, Victoria must decide whether to prioritize her personal happiness with Billy or to stay true to her family's expectations. Sally and Victor, unraveling ties. For Sally, the potential reunion of Victoria and Billy brings uncertainty. As a woman who has struggled to secure her place in Genoa City, Sally now finds herself in competition not only for Billy's affection but also for her professional standing. Her relationship with Billy is still fragile, and if he turns back to Victoria, she could lose him emotionally and professionally. Meanwhile, Victor's disapproval of Billy has never been a secret. His influence over Victoria has been strong, and if she begins to prioritize Billy over her father's wishes, it could send shockwaves through the Newman family. Victor, always controlling, may react harshly to Victoria's growing closeness with Billy, potentially using his power to separate them or manipulate Victoria into staying aligned with the family's legacy. Conclusion: a turning point for Victoria, Billy, and Genoa City. As the emotional landscape in Genoa City continues to evolve, Victoria's journey through grief, love, and loyalty will be a focal point of the upcoming storylines. With the potential death of Cole and the rekindling of her relationship with Billy, Victoria finds herself at a crossroads. Will she find happiness with Billy, or will the weight of her family's expectations, especially from Victor, pull her back into the shadows of the past?